Oh boy, found another one. Actually, I found two, but we're just going to cover this one because there's something I'm looking for, and I believe it's in here. We've got ourselves another model car junkyard. Oh, a lot of things in this one, so this could take a while. But come on, get open there. Let's see what's in here. See anything? See anything you want to see? There's something down there I want to see. Let's see. Let's move this. It's down in here. Let's see. Where is it? Look, it's down. What do we see down there? What is it? I think there's a Grumpy's Toy 8 down there. My old model. At least that's the body. I know there's parts of it in there. But we're going to try to dig that thing out. And then we'll take a look at it. And we'll look about some other things. Looks like we just got some bodies and things. But there's some old models that were built up at one time in there. But what the heck? Let's dig in. I'm gonna set up the camera and get the tripod out so it's a little more stable. And then we'll go in there. But yeah. Yeah. There it is. There's that old Grumpy's Toy 8. Alrighty, so let's dig into this. It's gonna be kind of challenging for me. So I got all my. I'm trying out a new mic here, so I hope this is working out, and a whole new rigging here that's in the way of me getting here. But I'm gonna do my best. See if I can get closer, and let's take a look. So please forgive me for my stumbling around. Let's get this folded back. Let's get this folded back. This is gonna be in the way. These flaps don't want to stay open. That should be fun. And they're going to fight me. So let's hope we can continue on. All right, let's begin. And we're going to start with this little box right here. And it has just got a whole bunch of parts in here from a bunch of models I built years ago. That was a Bob Glidden Thunderbird. This is the rear end out of that Grumpy's Toy 8. 70 Camaro. There's those wheels and tires that I need. I will probably repurpose those instead of those other tires. I'll save them for a different car. I think I'm going to use parts off of this car to build my new one. I'm going to pull that out. This is an interesting piece. You see, it looks like a fabricated fender out of metal. That actually belongs to a model that I'm going to show one of these days. I should hold this out because I might have to put it back on there. I'm going to show it one of these days on a Lucas build. It's an interesting car. A couple of you have spotted it when it's been panned by on my little collection of cased models, but we'll come up with that one later. There's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not going to pull everything out, but there's a lot of stuff. I don't know. Oh, that I was wondering about that. There's tons of things. I'm going to need to pull this out and go through it. Holy cow. There's tons of pieces in here. That is a good I'm going to have to pull this out and go through it. There's just tons of great pieces in here. A Mustang Boss engine. Oh, wow. That is interesting. That's a cool looking slick. Has M&H Race Master back here. And, wow. There's just tons of things in here. There's just too much to go through. What else have we got in here? From other models I built. There's a Pro Gas. Oh, that was a 57 Chevy Pro Modified, early Pro Modified I did. And we might find that in here because there's the hood to it. That's an important model of mine that has been busted up over the years that I actually would kind of like to restore, even though it's really not in that great a shape. I think that's a tire from it. Yeah. Oh, guys and girls and everyone. There's another piece of that Grumpy's Toy. That was the early Grump Lump, kind of reversed, that I scratch built. Wow. It's a little broken, but you can see how it's just sheet plastic all scratch built. I'm putting that off to the side. I think there's a lot of pieces in here from that Grumpy's toy model. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I'm glad I found this junkyard up in the attic. Oh boy. This could be a video in itself, just this little box. There's just tons of stuff. You guys see anything? Make a comment below. Oh, that's another piece of that model I was talking about. Cool, I'm glad I got those because I want to kind of show you guys that, and I might put those pieces back on because that was kind of a unique thing about that model. Anyways, well, let's start digging in down there. I don't know what's in here. Oh, this is a cool little model. 40 Ford Coupe. It's from the train sections. Sometimes trains, they have some cool stuff. It's in clear, but these little highway miniatures, they were cool little kits. You make a little HO scale model. I've got bunches of those. We're not pro here. No, that was a piece of a diorama I had made a few years back. That was a drag strip, and that was like the back wall. The diorama didn't last long. Yeah. Early model built in the 80s. This was the Revel, you know, with the IMSA flares. The Revel, like 78, 79 Z28, probably 80 Z28. Kind of a clunky shape. Wasn't really that great. I remember this was my first try in replicating window tinting. Had a hard time saying. All I did was just spray paint. Masked it off. Yeah, you saw that. Boom. Just a cougar body. There's so much stuff in here. Mostly just bodies. This is like my body junkyard. Bodies that are just like not used, or I did experiments with, or didn't complete. I never finished that one. I wasn't really liking it. That's old Fred Katie decals. I was going to try to do the Budweiser Ford. I think Jeff Bodine drove that. That's the old 69 Camaro from the old Monogram setup. Wasn't really that great of a kit. The old Monogram 69 Z28 69 Camaro. Great for parts, but it just was not really dimensionally great. It's making an old super stock car there. But that was my first try in doing. It's really rough. That's my first try. We're talking 80s. Probably 1987 I built this. Dude, look how rough my edges are in that paint masking and bleed over. Yeah. It was one of my first attempts. But, like I said, this was long before when Revel came out with their 69 Camaro. It just made this one totally obsolete. Let's dig through. Oh, busted up model. That's just a Revel Nomad. That thing has seen its better days. I was trying to do a custom thing using all the custom pieces. Yeah, didn't work out. Oh boy, Resin Bodies. I think I've showed the back half of this resin body. This was an old. Thank goodness for Savino's JR models coming out with their Pontiac 2+2, because, well, this was like one of the very first resin bodies. You can see it's slush cast. I think this was from Mad Dog Models. It wasn't even a two-part mold. It's just, you could see how it was just slushed in there. I tried to in an earlier... like I said, I had the back half of this, and I tried to show, I think it was in my video going over the new 2+2 from Savino's JR, that I was showing what we had to deal with back in the olden days. Thank you to them for coming out with that kit in styrene. In the real olden days, the 80s, resin casting was really early. You can see how thin it was there, and it was really, because you'd put resin in there and slosh it up, and the mold would be upside down, and yeah, you can see how thin, almost like it's breaking apart. But you know, you could do something with it. Oh, here's another early Mad Dog models before the Lumina came out. I remember getting this from him. It's kind of misshapen now, but you can see the slush cast, and this is no slam on him. He was a great Ron Bolton was just really, really excellent on Scratchman, because again, there was no Lumina out yet. I think he used several different bodies to build this Lumina. So this is kind of neat actually to have. I want to just like hold on to it. But I remember this was one of the better Lumina bodies. But again, slush casting, you can see. I don't know if you can see through. You can almost see through some of the spots. It's so thin, like that back bumper area. It would be. I don't know if you can get a good look. Yeah, resin casting was really difficult back in the early days. Getting a hold of resin stuff. Don Holthaus had it down, but a lot of the other casters, it was very expensive, and to do a 2-piece mold was really difficult to do back then. Materials were so expensive. And there's the some parts got hacked from it, but there's the Monogram Lumina. You can just kind of see. Let's just take a quick look comparison between Ron Bolton's and his scratch building was not too shabby, but you can see that this was the Pontiac roof and side windows. You can see the difference in that back quarter window. But he did a good job getting it close. Moving along. Oh, I was wondering if I still have this. I got to try to do something with this. I'm sad that I did this. I was making a stock car out of a Force 440 body. That is the 2-door Roadrunner, I guess it would have been, or Monaco. That's it, the 2-door Monaco. And I was making a stock car out of it. I think I might move forward with that since it's already in stock car trim. That could be pretty cool. I was thinking about that model. It's cool that I found it. Yeah, there's just pieces and parts. Nothing of real great consequence or concerns. Yeah. This is a Johann Cuda body for the Sox and Martin car. And I wanted to experiment with Fender Flaring. And there I was doing my Fender Flaring. And if you have seen, I pretty much did it back then. You can see how I kind of heated up and pooched out the plastic. But there's a great video on that I did early on, a couple years ago. But there you go. You want to do some Fender Flaring? Wow, I think I might have to play with that. That's pretty cool looking. You dig through these things, you forget about projects you do, and then you get all excited and want to work on that project. And I got too many going on. Can't tell you. That's a lot of old, what was that? Squadron green putty or something? I don't even remember. But I was trying to invent something there. A custom thing job. Wow. Other things. There's so much in here. I'm not going to really go through. Mostly just bodies unless I find a really cool old built model that's been crashed. It's looking. Oh boy. Okay. This is a real important one that was mentioned. Do you remember when I found in that last junkyard box we went through, I found my first, not my first model car, but it was my first serious model car, that blue GTO. This was the second one I ever built. I first just painted all that blue. That is that same blue, the Tester's Sapphire Blue, but it's shot over black plastic. So it came out really dark. And this was the Monogram 85 Trans Am. And this was about 1985, and I just really loved these cars, and it was my dream car. So I built it, and this is all that's left of it. I first painted it all blue. Then I later on came and I did the gold graphics. It was kind of an idea I had. Again, my early days of trying to do graphics. But that is that sapphire blue just shot over the black plastic. So it made it really dark. But it was a cool look. So yeah, that's my second serious model car I ever built right there. And back then I would build model cars and sometimes break them apart and come up with a new idea and to do a paint job like that. Here is an early Johann 70 Cutlass 7442. I cut the roof off because my very first car was a 69 Aztec Gold convertible Cutlass. So I was trying to replicate my car as close as I could. And this was a built model, and it's no longer a built model. There's some stuff I really want to get to in here. Let's see. Moving stuff around. Okay, I mentioned this car. This is a super important model car from my early days. This was my very, very first attempt on kit bashing and doing something pretty extravagant, and there's parts strewn everywhere. I showed you the hood scoop. It was kind of an interesting design and paint. I used rub-on letters, and I even hand painted this Speed Shop logo here. I didn't put a lot on that, but this was the Revel, because it had opening doors and trunk. I wanted to do that. But this was the Revel 57 Chevy. It's all Testors paints, just kind of experimenting, splattering. And this was an early pro-modified. I actually followed the Thundercraft 57 Chevy, which later became the soft seal car that Revel made a model of. When I built this, see, it said it was a top sportsman or pro top gas, something like that. And hopefully I find the rest of the car, but that was pretty cool. Let's see, look at the other side. See, look how it matched the Speed Shop logo. And that was all hand painted onto the body. I don't know what this, oh, yeah. The remnants of a Willys, the MPC Willys gasser. That's my chassis. Wow, what a bummer. I remember that thing took a drop to the floor and I just never got around to repairing it. It's probably somewhere in there. I think I see it. Let me see. I can pull it out. There's the body. I had tried the Testors lacquer. Not a fan. Didn't really like it. I got some bad marks in there, but I think I can restore this. That's pretty cool. I had a real problem with the clear just fizzing, getting solvent pop. You can see it really bad there. It just came out too fast, and I wasn't really pleased with that stuff. I liked that they had these colors, because that was a Chrysler color right there. Yeah, we will have to restore that one. I'll probably find the rest of it all in here. Let's look around. Lots of stuff in here. I'm not going to show everything. Oh, there's another resin body of Ron Bolton's. Holy cow, I forgot I had this. This was the Oldsmobile long before AMT came out with them. And a Monogram, actually. Nobody had an Oldsmobile. So that was the Oldsmobile. And you notice we had to deal with the hood shut. Here's an interesting bit of model car history. Is AMT was advertising their upcoming NASCAR models, and they put in the front running shot an Oldsmobile, because at that time there had been no 88 Oldsmobiles done, late 80s Oldsmobiles. Just get a good shot. They used one of these bodies for the ad. It wasn't their kit. It wasn't ready yet. I suspect it. It just looks like it, so don't hold me to that. That was AMT a long time ago. That company doesn't even exist. Oh, wow, there's so much in here. But I don't know what we'll get to. Jeez. Look at this flattened, broken, but I hold on to this for a reason. And I've used parts off of it. But if you guys can see, this is a Monza, like a 76, 77 Monza, Chevy Monza. It's crushed to hell. I've built it several times. Now this is a model from me when I was a little kid. And you can see it's that blue because I rebuilt it because I had it for so long. But it's too bad I kept rebuilding. I took it apart and rebuilt it like 2 or 3 times. And I was making some kind of off-road vehicle, I think, at that time. This was built out of the box, and you can see how rough some of it is. Underneath there is silver, and I painted it, hand-painted silver. And I did this in 1976, I think. I was in the 5th grade, Christmas time. We drew numbers and we traded Christmas gifts and stuff in class. I don't know, some of you older guys remember when they did that. You'd buy a gift, bring it to school, and everybody would pick numbers. And I ended up picking a gift that was this MPC model, which is my very first model car. I built models, but I built Star Wars models. Well, this is before Star Wars. So I don't think I ever really built models. I tinkered with a couple of airplanes and this, that, or my dad would buy something. I'd watch him build it. This is Lucas C's very first model car. I don't recall ever doing one before that. I do recall one. First model kit I ever got was the Revel 56 Chevy. There's a whole story to that, but it never got finished. This was my first model I ever finished. Nothing to look at, but I have to hold on to it because of what it is. I might have the other pieces, and of course it's been not treated well. It's a relic. It's for the Lucas C Museum. That's it. That's the first model car. All right, there you go. That's the story. That was pretty. I did not expect that. That was really kind of amazing. I didn't even know that thing existed. There's so much cool stuff in here, but nothing of real super excitement, and this is a toy. Super excitement, but this is kind of interesting. I think I picked this up. The scale is kind of very small, but that is a 70s two-door Impala. I don't know where the rest of the pieces are. I think I got this in hopes of building a model with it, but it's that toyish plastic. It's kind of it wasn't worth getting involved with. Bodies everywhere, all kinds of bodies, crushed bodies, smashed up bodies. Oh, here we go. Aaron, you ready?
Yes.
Aaron, you and I were talking about this. There's the funny car body. Using that early Monogram Z28 that was just so out of dimensions, but I kind of made my own flat hood. It's caving in. Just made there really is no hood. It's supposed to be a funny car body, but if you noticed, I slid the front wheel well forward. And the chassis I used that I'm hoping to find was the chassis out of the Johan Challenger funny car that was the Ramrod. Hand painted right here. You see it's got too much funny. Thought I'd do a play on words, and I hand painted on both sides right onto the body. If you look under here, I think you can kind of see my patchwork. I took another body and cut this portion of the body out of a donor body to add in to where I cut right here, slid forward, and placed the patch panel right in there. And there you can really see it right there. My early days of doing some heavy modifying. This is probably my most body work up to date. I probably did this in 89, I think. So that's another one I'd like to restore. This one, the old AMT 57 Chevy. I remember building this at the time, and I took over, it was like a beige, and I just shot the tester's metallic kind of translucent red, and it made it a little bit darker, but I was really going for that color because there was a guy that was down the street from a body shop that I worked at. I didn't see, you can really see how the paint was on that whole, I just painted the whole chassis. Simple model building. Anyways, I just like dark red, dark metallic red on 57 Chevys, and he had this really cool 57 Chevy. He ran a liquor store down the street from this body shop that I was working at. This was probably like 1985, 86. I just dug the car. I'd stop by and look at it. And there was rumor that he would let people drive it, but you had to drive it fast. And I never went up and asked. I didn't know the guy. He'd probably tell me to shove off. I was like 17 or 18 years old or something. Even back then, they weren't that old of cars. I wouldn't throw my nice 57 Chevy keys to some kid I don't know who's 19 and tell him to drive fast. That's insanity. But that car inspired me to build this model. And that's probably somewhere in the range of 4th to 6th model I ever built. You know, when I started building model cars. I'm not counting that first one I showed you. I'm counting from when I really took it serious with the 69 GTO. This was probably number 4 or 5. This one, back to that one. This was number 3, and this one was originally painted. I don't know if you can see any evidence of it. I originally painted this one. It was basically built out of the box first, and I painted it that blue that I painted the GTO and that 85 Trans Am, but then I repainted it, you know, a few years later, rebuilt the model. Just so you know, this is number 3. Oh, the roll cage is destroyed. That's that 57 Chevy. This is my first shot at doing heavy detail with getting MSC products. I finally got a hold of those, and holy mackerel, is this thing destroyed. But I scratch built the tubs, sprayed it like an aluminum color. I actually I tried to sand off the floor. That's the stock floor, because you see I used some of the Revel. Even says Revel there. I took the chassis, I front clipped it, I rear back halved it. That's my first attempt at doing scratch build. And my scratch built chassis, my scratch built roll cage, it's all busted. That would have killed somebody. And yeah, there's this 57 Chevy frame in the center. Like, that would be how a race car is built. And I used parts from one of the Monogram Pro stocks, the White Lightning. I tried to use the chassis and the tubs and all that stuff, but it didn't work out for this 57 Chevy. And that is what happened. Let's do something. Hopefully I don't drop any parts. There we go. Ta-da. You see that? I think I got pictures of this thing somewhere. But, you know, I wanted to have that look when you opened up. And I basically, because if you're familiar with this kit, it had carpet detail on the floor, and I had to sand all that off so it would look like an aluminum interior. And I know something else. I think I saw one of these types of cars, an early one, at the drag strip, and I was just amazed. The 57 Chevy with an aluminum interior. I even did, you can see the door back in there. Let's get that door open. I put... These are all plastic panels I cut and made, and then I shot with like a silver paint. But yeah, my very first, this is my first attempt at doing a scratch built chassis. I was impressed with myself. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know how chassis were built by race car teams. I just kind of looked at pictures and went for it. And it's real rough, but back then, hey, I was learning. That's how you do it. So you guys are starting out, just do it, dude. Just do it. You'll think it's wonderful, and later on, when you improve and you see other people's builds, you're going to think, oh, gosh, I'm not that good. But it's neat to look at. That's pretty impressive for as cobbled up as it is, for if you knew the kid that built this and his level of model car building. It's impressive. It's how it started. Just do it. Just build. Don't worry about what people think. Don't worry about what people say. Just do it. You'll improve. We're done playing around. We're getting to the meat of it. There's other things in here. There's nothing really that exciting to see. But here it is. Here is my Grumpy's Toy Camaro. I'm sure there's more parts, but there it is. I have one picture of it that I've showed it a couple times, but this was before I had to make this this D80 spoiler. Yeah, I had to make that, and I actually took the spoiler off of one of those Monza kits, because they had a smaller version of that spoiler Monzas did. So I did that, and I wanted to do some opening of the trunk, and there's some hinges there, guys. I know one of these days I'm going to do a hinge thing, and that was one of my first hinges. Not really that great looking, but it's a start. I don't know why. There was no trunk detail. I don't know why. I just wanted to take a shot at opening of a trunk. I thought it would be cool. But that's my Grumpy's toy. And if you look here, remember, this thing started out as a RS Enduro split bumper nose. And I sanded and got that light off of there. Good grief. We'll get back to what I was talking about, but there's the interior of the Grumpy's toy. That's exciting. And underneath, it was all in that article. It's kind of rough, but there's detail of the twin fuel pumps, that white gas tank, the whole white underside. I even did brake lines. I did try to do a lot of detail on this thing. Wow, that's cool. Oh, we'll get back to Grumpy's if I can find that nose. I really hope to find it, but I'm gonna do a whole video on it, I think. So I'll find all that stuff. But this was that I did a video on this kit, Lucas kits. I don't know where the chassis is at. Basically out of the box. I just wanted to make it look. My first attempt at doing a kind of a multicolored panel, bashed up car, dent in the door there, a dent, some rust, and somehow looks like it's been doing some burnouts. This was probably model number 8 or 9, one of the first 10 models I ever built. I was really getting into experimenting, and I worked at a body shop, so I was learning about primer and spot putty. That's why I did that. The interior, it's hard to come out, but yeah, that was my Mopar junker. Back in the 80s, it seemed like all the Mopar muscle cars were always primered and kind of in a functional rebuild, but they were always kind of, they were the cheapest of all cars back then. There was, Mopar didn't have the respect it has today. Nothing of real great, just stuff like this. It's really nothing. A lot of bodies, but as far as built models, I think I've almost found all of my once were built models. There's the hood to that 57 Chevy. Okay. This has to be seen. You guys know what this is. The flip nose Chevelle. This was my very first one I've talked about. This is the body of the first one. I did it all in silver, and I shot clear on it too. And you can see my scuff marks. And I used the kit decals. But I did it silver, built it out of the box. That's the original. That's the original body. And you want to know something? I am going to get back on that. And I think I might use this body. What do you guys think? I think for nostalgia purposes, since this was what made me fall in love with that kit, this was probably build between 6 and 10. It was one of the first 10 I built. But I really enjoyed this. And I know there's other pieces. I think I showed the front end out of this model in one of my episodes of An Adventure in Building a Model Car. So now that I found this, I think we're going to use this body. Because the other two bodies were kind of had issues and problems. But this body looks like it's in pretty good shape. I'm thinking this is probably a body that's in better shape. Maybe I'll work off the paint that's already on there. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one. So I'm going to hold on to this. It's kind of interesting to finish. I don't even remember what clear I used. But there we go. That's that one. It's the hood to the Grumpy's toy. We want to gather up as much of this kit as possible, this build. Yeah, wow, look how yellowed that is. Holy mackerel. Hey, now that was kind of like an accidental thing here. So I didn't know how to distress paint back then, but that went with that Barracuda that was all banged up that I built like in, the mid 80s. So that's all accident right there to get that look, but I like how that looks. From what I can remember, the black was kind of weird, and I tried to sand it down, and that's the orange from the coming through. Kind of gave that distressed look, and I go, oh, that looks cool. Accidentally found that. And that's a method used in distressing real cars today. The hood from that 57 Chevy. An old Chevelle body I was making. This is a Monogram Chevelle. And you can see I did my Fender Flaring with that. So I was just making a stock car out of it. Unfinished body work. Anywho, not much more in there. But if there's anything you see you have a question about, put it in the comments below. And any of these other models that I pulled out and showed you, if you want me to go over it and show you a little more about it, mention it down there. Because that's what the comment section is for. I'll read it. And, you got any questions, whatever you like. But why don't you guys tell me if there was something in particular you saw that you would like me to do a video on it and, get a little more up close, or you have any questions or want me to elaborate in any of my yarns I spin here, my stories, please put it down in the comments below. What we'd like you to do is first acknowledge my producers. Thanks, producers. You guys want to be a producer, go on to my Patreon, link in the description below. Get on there, click on, do your donation, $1 a month, $5 a month, $100 a month, $10,000 a month. I'll be grateful. Thank you. That's helping this channel. It's helping us get a new mic like this new mic, so I have better sound to talk to you. Like, subscribe, share this video. Get the word out about the Lucas E channel and Model Car Hobby Headquarters and Lucas Kits and Lucas Builds and Lucas Unbuilds and the vlogs. And we do it all. And even you guys want to watch me do more stuff on my Fox Body Mustang, I'm going to. It's just, you know, when the weather gets nicer and I got some work to do to it. So we got a whole bunch of things. You got any ideas for shows you want me to do? You know, throw them down there. So there was a little march through Lucas C's model car building history. You got some more stories. I hope you like them. And like we always say here in Model Car Hobby Headquarters, keep gluing those fingers together. Keep cutting that styrene. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks. You didn't see my face in this one. I'm sure you're happy about that.